Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome back to another preview, a massive game, Sunday, 4:30 p.m. UK at Old Trafford. It's the Tottenham. The Tottenham Hotspurs are going up the M6 to come and face Man United, which meant only one thing. I had to check in with my boy Tobes. Shout out Tobes. Tobes, welcome to the channel. Welcome back since the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Last time we spoke, obviously, that Garnacho thing, you got in my head a bit. I was angry. I just didn't like the way you pulled up. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. I can admit
remember
that.
that
I just
day.
didn't like it.
I remember that day. You're thinking, where the hell does this Spurs fan get up telling me about my players? That's the energy you were giving.
That was it, bro. I was like, nah. I went, this guy's got Brennan Johnson and some other guy that he don't even. And I just thought, how dare you tell me about mid? And I just got triggered. I hold my hands up. I was very defensive that day, and that game went on to be 2-2 as well.
Yeah.
And the game before that at your place early, I think it was the second game of the season last year or third game, one of them. You beat us then as well 2-0, and I was very angry at that. So we owe you one for a hot minute. We haven't beat you for a little bit. I see your team last night against Carrier Bag, 5p Carrier Bag. I see you against them down to 10 men after like 6 minutes. Talk to me about Spurs. Give me the Spurs perspective. How are you feeling going into this? Let's get into it.
You know what? I feel like I should be positive about this game because we're football men. Me and you are both football men. And I feel like you'll say the same thing about Spurs. Like, I'm watching Man United, and what I'm watching, it doesn't fill me with confidence that this is a team that can truly put someone to the sword. And it also looks as if like you lot still have a manager who just doesn't want to plug up the gaps in your team, or better yet, it doesn't want to plug up the gaps in your team when you play up against the better sides. So I go into it thinking, yeah, with the players at our disposal, we should be able to go up here and cause Man United some real problems based off what I've seen. But then I look at games like yesterday, whilst I'm fortunate that we won, I look at the fact that we were down to 10 men in the first 6 minutes. I look at the fact that we gave up several opportunities. And I look at the fact that even though there were positives, even though we create chances, even though we still press well, force teams to turn over possession, I just feel like in our setup, there's still some gaps in our structure that teams can exploit. And I feel like Man United, Old Trafford especially, it's not a happy hunting ground for Tottenham. I think we've won there like maybe 3-4 times in the last 12, 13 years.
Yeah. That COVID season where Martial got sent off by Lamella, I think it was. Martial was up 6-0 or whatever it was that day.
That was crazy. That was actually mad. Yeah.
I was so angry that day.
That was mad. That was beautiful. But yeah, it's like things like that, really. And it's like we just, for whatever reason, I've seen Spurs come to this ground and play really well and lose. I've seen Spurs come to this ground and play not so well and get battered. So it's not a ground that I can really puff out my chest and say, yeah, based off what I've seen from Tottenham this season, we're going there, we're going to smash them. But there is a lot that I can take confidence in when I look at our setup versus how you set up as well. And I'm sure you'll probably say the same with us.
Yeah, do you know what? I think this is what it is, that as football men, like you say, like we could do the banter thing, and listen, me and you, we're always ready to just. Do you know what? You in general, it doesn't matter who. I've seen you. This is what when you're ready, yeah, and someone draws you out, you're in, yeah. But what I do know, what I do respect is that when it's time to talk football, and give accurate opinions, because to be fair, how many times have I ever messaged you and I'm like, bro, you're always angry at your team. You're always vexed. Like, shouldn't have bought this man. We're trash. We're a mess. We're this. And so in terms of criticizing your own team, that I can't absolutely. So for the purposes of that, I think this is the type of preview that I think is important, because it's kind of like all jokes aside. Like, I already done the thing rattling Abby with the combined 11, and
I saw that
preview on DR. Yes, Abby's shame that she's a different kettle of fish. But I feel like we can talk ball here. Yeah. And you know what? You're right. I agree with everything you just said about Spurs. Every single thing you said about Spurs. For us, seven games in all comps, we've won 3. And that's against Barnsley, Southampton, and respectively Fulham on the first game of the season, which was not a great watch, but we got there in the end. The progress in the 7 games is not completely there. We're creating a lot of chances. We're not being clinical. I can see what we're trying to do for longer periods than we were able to do it for previously, but the bar is so low that these improvements are so minute. Like they're not transpiring into wins. They're not transpiring into points. They're not transpiring into goals. I'm left sort of going, oh, we pressed really well for that first half and created. We should have been 1-0 up, but we're not. Oh, we that game against Palace. We should have been this XG that, but we're not. Oh, against Brighton, we had the ball in the back of the net. It was 2-1, but then we lost. FC20. Oh, them 3-man made a mistake in a row, but then the game went. So there's so much. We're not good right now, bro. We're not. We're doing some things better than we did last year just because by default we've got better players back available. Like in our back four, we don't have to just throw out anybody. You know, Delit really looks good. Martinez is back. Dallow's doing a good job at left back, and Mazraoui's technically sound. So that makes us better just off default. In midfield, you know, Kobe Mainoo's doing okay. Ugate's only about to come into it. Bruno's having a shocking time.
Awful.
And listen, you know me, I always but I have to keep it true. The last few weeks, I've been on to him saying he should be out of the team. It's been absolutely horrendous. Marcus Rashford's looking a bit more confident.
Yes.
He's bringing people into play. You know what I mean? Setting up chances, nice link up. And then you got Garnacho and Ahmad respectively chomping at the bit. So it's okay, but it's a mixed bag. Rasmus Højlund's back. We're not potent up front. But when I look at Spurs, I look at it and say, the game plan is so clear. The game plan is so easy. We actually just revert back to type and just play on the counter-attack. Spurs let them have the ball, and they will give up chances. Easily will give up chances. But we have the bozo gene as well. I know you talk about the bozo gene. We have the bozo gene, bro. Like all of a sudden, when we're met with some adversity and someone makes a mistake or we concede or we're on top and then someone takes their eye off the ball, all of a sudden the game's chaotic. All of a sudden we can't make chances. We can't keep the ball. So this game technically has draw written all over it. I think we'd win because I just can't see you coming up there and just dealing with us though at Old Trafford, like dealt with, pack up, go home, like we got moved to. But in this game, it's so finely poised between the two teams. It is like do you know what I mean? There's a lot there.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, and it's annoying, right? Because I wish, and I'm praying and hoping that Ange makes us less predictable in certain respects, make us less predictable. And I just want the big players to turn up. If we can do that, bro, and we take our chances, I think we can have a really positive result at Old Trafford. But that's the problem. It's big ifs. That's a big if. He's
not going to change a damn thing, is he?
If Ange makes those tweaks in attack, if our attackers are sharpshooters on the day, like there's so many things that I think need to go right. And these things that I'm asking for, they go against what we've seen this season. We're not a clinical side. We have a manager who makes some tweaks here and there. We've seen some improvements in. I personally think we've seen some improvements in how we defend the transitions and how we defend the set pieces. But still, there's still gaps for teams to exploit. And to your point, right? I feel like even when we make some of these improvements, we don't get to see the benefit of those improvements because we're still tripping ourselves up with some of the other issues that our setup is causing us, right? So it's one of those ones where I just want us to go there and just shut people up, please, man. That's what I want badly. Like we've got Brennan Johnson, who's, you know me, you know my thoughts on Brennan Johnson, but he's actually in good form, like 3-3 right now. I just want him to keep the hot hand going, like go up there, be decisive like you have been the last 2-3 games. Solanke, he had a jolly up at Old Trafford last season. He had a right jolly up at Old Trafford last season. Yeah, so I'm praying that he takes some confidence from that and the fact that he's now 2-2 for Spurs. Like there's variables, right? Like last season, we didn't have Maddison available. Van de Ven had only just come back from injury. We didn't have Basuma available. We didn't have Son available. We didn't have Kulusevski available. We didn't have who else didn't we have available? Like there were so many players missing. We didn't even have.
I remember being vexed, bro. But I remember coming out of the stadium and going, Højbjerg and Skip. They came, and me and KG were arguing, bro, because I was like, what have I just seen? We should have put that team to the sword.
Yeah.
And like you said, it wasn't even the best version of Spurs. And exactly, your players are back. I mean, for us, it's like we have almost a full complement now. Like, the injury thing is gone. Like, yes, Euro is injured, but he hasn't even played for us yet. So that doesn't really count. Luke Shaw's always injured. So that don't really count. And Rasmus Højlund is fresh back, and so is Mason Mount. We have legitimate options. On our bench, we sometimes see Casemiro, Ugarte, one of Amad or Garnacho to come on, one of Højlund or Xerxes to come on, Mount to come on. Like, there's legit, Casemiro can still come on and do a job if you need him to. We've got players to choose from now. So I don't want to hear that we're not ready. But on a positive, Marcus Rashford, he needs to start. He's looking back confident again. It's not turning in.
I'm worried.
Yeah, it's not a hot streak like he's in banging form, bare goals, bare assists, but just the way he's playing again. Flip flaps, trying to take man on, direct. I actually want him and Garnacho to start this game. I'm not mad if it's Amad, because Amad keeps the ball really, really well. I really like him, and I've got no problems with him starting. But I think for this particular game, especially with how high the line is for Spurs, like, we will get chances on that counter-attack. And I just want Garnacho and Rashford going boom in behind, off of Xerxes. But he'll probably put Højlund in, I reckon, this time. But Xerxes just bringing their man into play.
Yeah.
Bruno, look, Eric's going to play him. Ten Hag's going to play him because he likes to play these guys through the bad forms. And in the presser, he said, it's just a matter of time. 100% he will be back scoring and la, 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 la. He ain't taking him out. So I'm not even trying to get my head into that.
I'm happy with that.
So but then I'm just hoping that Jing Bang Bruno, he's in bad form, but then the moment happens.
You can just pop for something. That's what he's got.
And then you'll be left saying, this guy, he's so shit. How?
Jarring.
And that I need that Bruno. I need that Bruno to enter the equation ASAP, because most United fans are like, he shouldn't be playing right now. He shouldn't be playing. But once he's on the pitch, there's always a chance. But he is moving crazy right now.
Yeah, you know what I would say though? I would because I look at I fully agree. I think Marcus Rashford, I don't care what anyone tells me. I know he's been in terrible form. I know he's been in terrible form over the last year or so, right? But I feel like he looked decent, because I watched the full match you lot played against Twente. He looked decent there. And I feel like he's slowly getting his mojo back. And he's someone who always has a good game against Tottenham. Always,
yeah, he does.
Always. He does. He always kills us, man. And I'm looking at that contest between him and Pedro Porro on that left-hand side. And I'm looking at the fact that Brennan Johnson doesn't really track back. I'm looking at the fact that Ange, the way we play, where we invert the fullbacks, sometimes we leave the space out wide. And I feel like that's a big cause for concern for me. I really think he can cause us some problems on that side. And I'm hoping that the manager and our players, so I'm looking at Porro, Romero, Bentancur, whoever plays in the right-hand side of the midfield, maybe it's Kulusevski. I'm hoping that we can do our job diligently in the defensive phases, because I think offensively, I feel like we'll run rings through the midfield. Personally, I think with Maddison back fit, Basuma or Bentancur available, and then Kulusevski in the midfield, I feel like Eriksen, Mainu, Bruno, if that's the midfield he's going to play, we should be running rings through that midfield, in my opinion.
He's got to play Ugarte. I think because he can get about and get in people's face. Ugarte's got to play.
He can get about, but I think we can. I think we can run rings around him too, as well. To be honest, based off what I saw against FC Twente, like FC Twente in possession were having a jolly up in certain moments. I couldn't believe the amount of space that was available in Man United's midfield. And listen, it's up to Ten Hag really, because like you said, unfortunately, even though there have been some improvements in how we play and how we defend, it's too easy to set up to stop our main source of goals, our threats, just our ability to win a game of football. And if Ten Hag is smart, I don't know if he has the players in midfield to stop us and to do that job diligently, but I think he has the players in defense. And I think fundamentally he has an attack that can hurt us in transition. And like you said, you've got more competence across the team now to actually cause Spurs problems. I can see Xerxes dropping in the pocket to maybe dragging our centre backs. I could see I know you said play Garnacho. If I'm him, I actually wouldn't play Garnacho. I would start Ahmad, because I feel like Ahmad gives a different proposition to Garnacho. I feel like Garnacho, his game is too reliant on pace, and I think Van de Ven will catch him for pace, and I think in 1v1s, Destiny Udogie will padlock him like he did last year. I think with Ahmad, you have someone who's a bit more inventive with the ball, who's gonna combine, who's gonna try and.
That's true, actually. He's
gonna try and go at the Destiny challenge a different way, and I feel like those type of wingers sometimes, not often, but sometimes they could get the better of Destiny. So I don't know why I'm telling you this, but
but do you know what? I actually forgot about that left side in terms of like Van de Ven left centre back, and then you obviously Udogie right next to him. And I remember you got Nyam up last year. Garnacho did. Udogie was bullying him. Yeah, I do remember that. And actually, like I did say, like, so I have no problems if Ahmad starts at all, because he keeps the ball really well. He's very intelligent. He might not be as direct and might not, like you say, want to get to goal as quickly, but the patient nature of being able to break that high line and find the right pass, hold on to the ball in the right areas. And like you said, give Udogie something else, because Ahmad will drift inside. Udogie will vacate that space and be like sometimes on the final line of defense, isn't he? Half the time, both him and Porro go and join, like they're like almost up front half the time.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got Dallo at left back, who is inverting into that sort of 6th position as well.
I saw.
So that's what his role's been. That since we've been settled, Dallo's been doing that really well, and he's been getting on the half turn. I've got the teams.
Sorry, I'm gonna message him back now. I'll just tell him I can't do it. So keep going. We'll
only be a few minutes longer. And Dallo's been doing that role really, really well. He's been taking the ball on the half turn in those little areas. He can drive with the ball really well. I don't know if you saw us against Palace. He was finding himself in advanced central areas, playing balls through the line, setting up Garnacho. Like, he's very comfortable with the ball. And against this Spurs team that also vacates them positions, I think he could cause some trouble for you as well. So it's the thing is about this game, to kind of wrap up. It's there for both teams. It's there for both teams if they want it. I feel like because we're at home, and you talk about needing to sort of shut people up and like have a big game, the pressure is on. Our next 3 games in a row now are you, Porto away, and then Villa away. Like, and we've just effed up the 2 that you're thinking, Palace and FC20, right? Get them wins in the bag, then you go into the 3. We just fucked it up. So now, boy, if he's on the wrong end of these, it's very long. Peak.
It's very long.
It's very long. And for you, you know what football's like at this stage, where we are. It's like you're one bad result away from the crisis kicking in. Like, if we slap you up, then it gets back to Ange's this and we're naive and you know what I mean? So, and vice versa to us. Even if we draw, we feel like a loss. We must win this game. So let's lock in the predictions. What are you saying?
Oh, you know what? My head is telling me this is going to be a draw. It's got previous history in my head is telling me this is going to be a draw or potentially a jammy Man United win, but I'm going to go with my heart on this one. I feel like I've said this scoreline so many times, 3-2. I'm going to keep sticking to it. I'm going to say 3-2 Tottenham. I feel like our press is going to catch your midfielders and your defenders out, and I feel like we got having Son there now and Solanke in the attack. I think we got some real problems to cause this Man United back line. So I'm going to go for 3-2 Spurs win.
All right. I hear what you're saying about that draw. Like, the head is saying, I'll tell you what, both of these teams, it's a bit of a mid-off here. Like it's not great. As a neutral, I'll be like, look at these 2 pillocks playing. Like, that's how I would feel. But like you, I'm going to go with my heart. And I just feel that because it's at home, we need a reaction. Rashford likes a game against Spurs. Bruno is in shocking form, but I feel this will be the one where he just does something right on cue. And we'll get chances in transition on the counter. I think will be devastating. So I'm going to go 2-1 Man United. 2-1 Man United win. And hopefully, like I say in these previews, let's just hope that there's no fuckeries, that like it's not the referee, it's not this house, that red card, or he
just want to see a clean game of football.
Yeah, exactly. And then whoever wins, and they must hold that. they must fold. All right, Tobes, big up. Thanks for joining us. You guys make sure you check out Tobes' channel. Check out his socials as well. They're in the link in the video description below. Make sure you check out the Big Six as well. He's on there every single week defending himself against the hooligans on there. Let us know in the comments how you're feeling, guys. Let us know your prediction, your starting 11s, etc., etc. And we'll see you in another preview soon. Take care. Big up you, Tobes. Peace.